Martin Luther King was one of the most important figures in American civil rights history and one of the most valuable people to our progress as a nation. However, in his time period, he was very disdained and disliked by the American public as well as media. Why was this? Let's find out.
Obviously, Martin Luther King is viewed very much as a hero today, but he was a very controversial figure in his own time for various reasons.
As you go through the 1960s, what happens is as he gets more well known, his approval actually declines.
Public persona and what he did were in lockstep. The one area where I don't think he's given enough credit was how much danger he put himself in. MLK and the civil rights participants went into a lot of these extremely hostile environments.
Fighting for civil rights issues in the South was controversial at the time, but even things like later in his life, he started focusing on issues of like economic inequality, supporting economic justice. He was being monitored by the FBI, for potentially having communist sympathies.
His vision expands much beyond just getting the Civil Rights Act passed, getting the Voting Rights Act passed. His vision expands to equality that's also focused later on economic equality, on challenging segregation that's not in law but is like in fact. Which
just like any moment in history, when you have people that are fighting against, I'll call it the social norm, you're going to have people that support them and you're going to have people that do not support them.
After Martin Luther King dies, he's no longer a threat, right? He's just a symbol.
Hindsight is always 20/20, I'll say. I think as people now are starting to realize the things that the civil rights protesters went through, I think people understand where he was coming from.
One thing that tends to happen is that history tends to prove some people and some groups correct. So I think we all should maybe take into perspective that there are certain groups today that are viewed as controversial and express views that are outside of the norm, but in the future, they might be perceived as being historical heroes.
His peaceful protesting and ability to make change without violent action was extremely vital to the civil rights movement and our progress into becoming a free and fair nation for everybody.